Welcome to our lesson number one summary. In this lesson, we talked about what is culture, and also we answered the question, how can you describe culture? The objectives. By the end of the unit, you will be able to build up your own criteria to comprehend elements of culture and use them to compare different Aboriginal groups in America. These are groups that we will later study so you can understand the first inhabitants of the continent. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to use the concept of culture to describe examples of cultural groups. This is the definition of culture. Culture are the shared patterns of behaviors and interactions, cognitive constructs, and understanding that are learned by socialization. What are shared patterns? A pattern is something that is repeated. So these behaviors or these specific features that people have in a specific group are shared by each member of the society or each member of that specific group. Socialization is important because we learn a lot of things through socialization. When we interact with others, we learn a new language, we also learn about our religion, and we also get to know about many facts that help us learn new things and become smarter, and as well as take our own decisions. Thus, it can be seen as the growth of a group identity. The group identity is the sense that you belong to one place and to one group. True or false? In this part of the lesson, we clarified some ideas that we have about culture. Number one, culture is passed down through generations. True. Many of our ancestors have shared different ideas through stories. In specific societies, they have learned those things through the writings that our ancestors have left. And so, many other things like the language have been learned thanks to generations in the past. Number two, trade and travel don't influence culture. That is wrong. Why? Because trade had made people move to different places, learn new languages so they could exchange their products. Number three, people are born with a culture. This cannot be true. Why? Because culture is something that you acquire and you learn, and you can also have the decision to believe on something or not. So it's mostly depending on the character and what you learn, the things that you believe in. So little by little, while you are growing, while you are getting educated, you get to understand that sense of belonging and the group that you are part of. Number four, communication makes possible to mix different cultures. Communication makes possible that you can interact with other people who have different cultures. And if you're living with those people, near those people, we can talk about that mixture. If these two cultures are found in one place, they start to mix their ideals, they start to mix their language or the way of thinking, their education, and not necessarily everything, but certain aspects may remain, like religion. But the idea is that you can understand that even if people is different from you, you need to learn how to respect them and tolerate them. Number five, our country is made up by people of only one cultural group. Our country is not made up of people of only one cultural group, so that is false. In history, we have learned how these territories have been inhabited by colonizers, and they have also brought different people from other countries. Also, immigrants arrived here from other nations and started to mix their customs, their ideals, their religion, their way of thinking, and also their language. Number six, our skin color influences our cultural group. I want you to think carefully about this idea. This idea is wrong, especially because there is a perception that we have about other people. But the skin color of a person does not determine their culture. It might be one of the aspects that is common among a group, but that will not really define their beliefs, their religion. Elements of culture related to the Aztec civilization. When we studied about this civilization, we learned one important aspect. In point number 2, we analyzed the beliefs that they had. Religion and values become the motivation for people to gather and build their temples. So, think about this example. What you believe in motivates you to do something. That will become an expression of your thinking. And so, that is an expression of your culture. Other elements of culture that we studied are the traditions. Traditions may be influenced by the place in which you live because you have certain resources available that other people may not have. Heritage, language. Language has different aspects like accents, the vocabulary. Some people who have the same language, like most of us in our country, we have different accents, like the accent of people in the coast and the people in the highland. We speak Spanish, but our accent has a variation, as well as the vocabulary that we use. Education, architecture, tools like war, tools for cooking, for war and hunting, beliefs, religion, and social organization. Social organization is related to the roles of the people, what they do. In the family, different people develop different roles. Like the role of a father may be different from the role of a mother. The role of children also. In your case, you are dedicated to study, to prepare yourself. You can also help at home. At a higher level, we can refer to leaders of a community or the leaders of a nation. In some cultures, we have a king and a queen. In some others, we have the leader of a clan, or we have a president and governors.